Something about this visit doesn't quite fit. A prince returns to London. The cameras are ready, charity events are scheduled, familiar streets welcome him back, yet one question keeps overshadowing everything else. Where is he actually staying? It sounds like a simple detail, but when someone who once called Buckingham Palace home is reportedly staying elsewhere, people naturally begin asking whether there's more to the story than anyone is willing to say. And that opens up even bigger questions. Was it simply logistics? Was it a personal choice? Or is there another explanation that hasn't been fully understood? Those answers don't come immediately. In fact, the closer you look, the more complicated the picture becomes. Prince Harry arrived in London ahead of several charity engagements, continuing work that has remained central to his public identity. While his wife, Meghan, and their children stayed behind, reports suggested they could potentially join him later, although no official confirmation followed. On the surface, everything appeared routine. A working visit. A familiar city. Important causes. But royal visits are rarely judged only by the events on the calendar. Sometimes, it's the moments between appearances that attract the most attention. Where someone enters. Who greets them. Which doors open and which remain closed. That is why discussion quickly shifted away from Harry's schedule and toward his accommodation. Almost immediately, speculation spread across social media. Some claimed there had been an invitation. Others insisted there hadn't. More dramatic posts even alleged that internal family disagreements determined where Harry could stay. The problem? None of those claims came with verified evidence. As online theories multiplied, many people began treating speculation as established fact. And that changed the conversation entirely. Instead of focusing on Harry's charitable work, attention turned back toward the relationship between him and the royal family. It's impossible to ignore the history. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan have spoken publicly about painful experiences within royal life. Television interviews, documentaries, and Harry's memoir all contributed to an already strained relationship. Trust, once damaged, is difficult to rebuild. Every meeting, every visit, every photograph is now interpreted through that history. That creates an unusual situation. Even ordinary decisions can appear extraordinary. Then another layer entered the discussion. Some commentators began suggesting that Harry's accommodation reflected ongoing family tensions. Others argued that security arrangements, scheduling, and practical considerations could easily explain why he wasn't staying inside a royal residence. Those explanations received far less attention than the dramatic headlines. Because uncertainty attracts curiosity. And curiosity often creates room for assumptions. Halfway through the conversation, something interesting happened. The story stopped being about where Harry was sleeping. Instead, it became a debate about influence. Could anyone inside the royal family actually decide whether Harry stayed at Buckingham Palace? Claims soon circulated online, alleging that Prince William had somehow pressured King Charles into refusing accommodation. It's certainly a dramatic narrative. But there's an important distinction that often disappears online. As of now, there has been no verified public evidence confirming that Prince William forced King Charles to make such a decision. Reports and commentary have offered different interpretations, but speculation should not be confused with confirmed fact. That difference matters, because once an unverified claim is repeated enough times, it can begin to sound like established truth. And that's where many royal stories become difficult to separate from rumor. Even so, the public fascination remains understandable. Every interaction between Harry, William, and King Charles is examined with extraordinary intensity. A missed meeting becomes a headline. A brief conversation becomes front-page news. A hotel or another private residence, instead of Buckingham Palace, becomes an international talking point. It shows just how symbolic these details have become. For many observers, accommodation isn't really about accommodation at all. It's about relationships. It's about reconciliation. It's about whether bridges are quietly being rebuilt, or quietly remaining exactly where they were. Meanwhile, Harry continues focusing publicly on the causes that brought him to London. Charity work has remained one of the few consistent threads throughout every stage of his public life. Even after leaving official royal duties, projects connected to veterans and humanitarian causes have continued to define much of his schedule. Yet public attention rarely stays there for long. Instead, every movement becomes part of a larger narrative. Who attended? Who stayed away? Who spoke? Who remained silent? Sometimes the absence of information becomes the biggest story of all. That may be exactly what's happening here. Without detailed official explanations, every unanswered question leaves room for interpretation. Some interpretations are measured. Others become increasingly dramatic. And before long, speculation can overshadow reality. Perhaps the most revealing part of this entire episode isn't where Harry spent the night. It's how quickly one logistical detail evolved into worldwide debate about family loyalty, royal influence, and the future of one of the most closely watched families on Earth. Whether reconciliation eventually happens remains unknown. Whether future visits look different also remains uncertain. For now, verified facts remain relatively limited compared with the volume of online theories surrounding them. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway. In the world of the modern monarchy, the loudest story isn't always the most accurate one. Sometimes it's the unanswered questions that capture the world's attention, and until more is officially confirmed, people will continue wondering whether the real story has yet to be told.